I remember being in a hotel room and I had a bunch of drugs and money and a gun, and I'm in tears crying because I don't want to do this lifestyle anymore. When my daughter died, I internalized a lot of my depression and anger towards the world. I was upset that God took away my child. I remember, trying to find anybody out there just to come hang out with me, just to come talk to me, just come, give me some sort of guidance, because at this point I was really, really lost. The norm in the drug scene, people die all the time. People will come up missing. You don't see so and so forever, and you find out that they've been in prison for the last couple of years. All three of my kids should have been my priorities, and considering my daughter passing away when I was 20 was the kickstart of me going down this path of drug addiction. You'd think that having children in my life would have actually kept me and prevented me from doing that. I'm grateful now that I've been clean for as long as I have, because I feel like my mind has finally come back. My name is Dominic, and I'm a recovering drug addict. When I use drugs, I become extremely mentally abusive, emotionally abusive. I become this, in my opinion, an evil alter ego of what I am at my person. I become a monster that I despise. I wanted to get help. I wanted to sit there and tell somebody. I felt so anger towards myself that I tried to kind of downplay it. I'm just doing it because I got to stay up. I got a new baby on the way. I got to paint all this stuff. I got to get everything ready. So in my mind, in that sick addict mind, I'm justifying the reasons on why I'm using this drug and the reasons why I don't have a problem. But deep down, I knew that something was going on. I knew that I was starting to lose my footing and slip further back than I've ever been.
While we were pregnant, once we had a diagnosis that we knew for a fact 100% our child would not survive, and there was no change that could occur. Once that diagnosis came, his drug use increased substantially. We didn't know that she would be born alive, but she was. 3 hours later, she passed. He was not really able to maintain a reasonable state of sobriety at that point. He was not able, in my opinion, to handle that loss.
I ended up basically internalizing all my anger and hate and just frustration with the fact that I lost a little girl. I didn't go seek help. I didn't go to try to deal with it in a healthy way. I did it in a very non-healthy way. Internalized it, which caused me just to be an angry person, hateful and spiteful to the world, because I was upset that God took away my child. When I couldn't deal with it and cope anymore mentally with my thoughts and my emotions, that's when I started using drugs very, very heavily.
His extreme was somewhat violent, but mostly heavily aggressive. It was like looking at somebody taking over him.
I ended up moving to Dallas to kind of start over and get away. That was probably not healthy in my emotional state that I was in. During that time, I always had drugs on me. I was always partying. There was not a time that you could find me without drugs. And I began selling drugs to go ahead and basically deal with my habits and make cash. So that brought me into inner drug circles that nobody should really be in. I ended up meeting people that you should probably never want to meet. I mean, these are people that could kill you at any given point in time. A month later, I got busted with a pretty hefty amount of cocaine. I lost my car, my clothes, everything that was in that apartment and that condo was just gone. My daughter's ashes, that was the only prized possession that I had in that place. The clothes and everything, the furniture, the car, that's all replaceable, but I felt like I lost my daughter twice. So being in prison didn't actually change me. It kept me sober unwillingly for almost 3 years. I was basically just trying to do my time and get out and get back out to exactly what I was doing before. I remember working out in the rec yard and laughing at these guys because, you know, they're starting to get bigger and they're getting these veins in their arms, and they keep saying, I can't wait to get out so I can shoot dope. And I'm like, what the hell is wrong with these people? But as soon as I get out of prison, you know, within 2 days, I'm back into the drug scene doing the exact same thing. I remember being in the bathroom and taking this meth pipe out and not wanting to use it. I mean, visibly having tears in my eyes looking in this mirror, and it felt like I was on autopilot as I'm using meth. And I wanted to stop and I couldn't, and I tried numerous times to stop. I tried to quit cold turkey. I tried to do everything, but I was such in a depressed state that the only thing that would get me lifted or make me feel normal or just get me through the day was using. If I didn't use, I was sick. If I used, I was angry at myself. So I was stuck between these areas and I didn't know how to deal with it. My ex-wife ended up basically leaving and saying that if you wanted to save your family, you need to go get help. At that point, things had gotten so bad that I knew that I needed to get help. In order for me not to go back to prison or die or do something to somebody, hurt somebody, I knew that I needed to go get help. And that's when I ended up going to Desert Hope. When I went to rehab, my ex-wife told me that I needed to go to rehab to save my family, and at that point she was done. I'd already put her through a lot. I lied to her, manipulated, became extremely violent. You know, I've hurt her so much and so bad, you know, I'm pretty sure that she still has a lot of hurt and anger and animosity towards me, and rightfully so. When you're an addict, you're not thinking correctly. You don't have the right mindsets. Your priorities are not where they should be. All these kids, all three of my kids should have been my priorities. And considering my daughter passing away when I was 20 was the kickstart of me going down this path of drug addiction, you'd think that having children in my life would have actually kept me and prevented me from doing that. But I wasn't there, you know, mentally. When I left, I ended up using before I got on the plane. I stopped at a friend's house. I had about 4 hours before I had to leave. So I stopped at a friend's house that was close to the airport, got high again, and then came to Desert Hope. I'm unsure about what's going to happen next. I've never been through rehab. I don't know what's going on. I'm away from, you know, from Dallas, from people that I know. I'm dealing with anxiety of if I'm going to see, you know, my wife and my kids at this time. I don't know what to expect. The staff at Desert Hope was very caring as soon as I came right through the door. There was no judgment. There was no animosity, anger, hurt. There was only love and caring from every staff member that was there.
He was just a generally happy guy coming into treatment, which for some treatment professionals is a little bit suspicious for us.
He came in and at first he was just, you know, the type of individual that really didn't take it. He took it seriously, but then he didn't take it seriously. He was the good guy, the jokester, the one, everybody liked him. And then, you know, realization hit, and he was really down for quite a while.
Crying, I'm dealing with stuff with my ex-wife, you know, not seeing my kids. My caseworker's been talking to my ex-wife, trying to figure out what's going on. And one area, his ex-wife would be telling him, you know, good work, keep it up. And then in another, it would be, I don't like you, you're not going to be with us, so forth and so on. So while he was in treatment, I mean, he was on a full-on roller coaster. I was so anxious about, you know, what's going on with in my personal life, what am I doing here, and like all these other things.
I knew that he wasn't acting very sociable that day, and he literally had a meltdown. He started crying uncontrollably. I've never seen a man cry as much as he did. He was just at his wit's end at that time and didn't know what else to do.
He did attempt to commit suicide in his room, and due to the BHTs on staff who checked, and then they caught him.
He said he wanted to end his life. I took his belt from him, and I took his shoelaces from him, and I stayed with him. He grabbed a hold of my arm he didn't want to let go, and he just cried and cried and cried. We called 911, and they transported him to the emergency room, where he was placed on a psychiatric hold and sent to a facility where they could keep a closer eye on him.
He just totally broke. But he was there for about 4 or 5 days, and then he came back to Desert Hope.
He was very appreciative. Thank you so much for helping me. Thank you for listening. So he was doing better and able to cope better with what was going on.
I remember Miss Patty, she basically got my head out of my ass and said, Dominic, you better quit bullshitting me. If you want help, I'm here to help you, but I can't help you if you don't allow me to be in and just actually guide you through this.
Dominic and I sat down on the couch, and I got a little bit verbally tough with him about reality and about how important he was in life, and how nobody gets to live with you the rest of your life but you, and it's all in how you want to portray yourself, how you want to be remembered to your children. It doesn't matter what happens in a divorce. It all matters about those children. And he can decide right now to be a good dad, or he can decide to hurt those children.
That moment, it's something like clicked with me, like, you know, okay, Miss Patty, you know, and she honestly genuinely cared. Most of the people there in that facility has had some sort of, you know, dealings with drug addiction or alcoholism, whether or not personally or somebody in their family. So for everybody to sit there and give you hope, looking at them saying, hey, I used to be exactly like you, I used to be exactly where you are, but here's how I got out. Well, hearing Miss Patty and her stories about that, and just basically being very gruff with me, is what I needed. And at that point, that's when I tried to better myself in that common area on that couch while I'm sitting there crying, that, you know, I wanted to get better. And, you know, Miss Patty is the one that basically started that with me.
So in the midst of all that, his own personal struggles, he didn't for one time let that persuade him to be an introvert or isolative. He was just a very happy, helpful person. For any recovering person, it is about their perseverance and their dedication and their motivation to change who they are.
Desert Hope, the reason that it worked so well with me is because of the support system that it created for me. If you work the steps there, and if you actually use the tools that you're given, you know, your case manager, your therapist, people that work there, you can create a pretty amazing support circle. And that's what I did, and I believe that's what single-handedly it's moved me forward. If I could have gone back in time, I would have definitely tried to get help when my daughter died, because I'm pretty sure that would have prevented me from going down the downward spiral that I went on. If you're still in this addiction, there is a place that you can go that you can get the things that you need in order to change your life. And it's not going to be easy at first, because you have to want it. But there are people that are literally dying to get into that bed, get into that treatment, get into a better form of life. And if you honestly want to change who you are and what you're doing, if you're tired of being in and out of jail, if you're tired of, hearing people overdose, if you're tired of, hearing that people that you care about, have been shot and killed and just living this horrible life, then there is a place that you can go in order to get the help that you need. And I hope that you find it in American addiction centers, if anywhere. You just need to find it. I'm currently going to school to become a drug counselor. It's going to be a bachelor's degree in psychology with a concentration in drug and alcohol addiction. I usually spend about 2 to 3 hours a day studying. My day, as soon as I get up, I generally try to get to the gym. Once I get back to the gym, I come back here and try to read for about an hour. There's a lot of reading material that's involved in this degree. Start getting ready for work. Get to work around 4 o'clock. When I get done with work, I'm usually up till about 2 or 3 o'clock, trying to read, study, and finish up my assignments. I'm starting to become a drug counselor because I know what it's like to lose, your freedom, your family, and if I can help somebody prevent the things that I've gone through, then that's what I want to do. I want to make a difference in the world. I felt myself slipping when I got out of rehab, still finding myself in the same positions that I was in.
No one in their family was really communicating with him. They'd sort of written him off. He was doing well and staying clean, but things were catching up with him. He was really struggling. He's like, he was very depressed. So he reached out to me. Said, what am I going to do? You're the only one in the entire family that will talk to me. And I felt that I just had a connection with him.
My aunt was a huge contributing factor to where I'm at right now. She took a leap of faith and believed in me.
I just felt in my heart that I needed to do this, and I just followed my gut and reached out to help him.
July 17th of 2015 is the day that I basically left all my past behind me and started over. I gave away everything in Dallas. That's when I moved up here to Columbus. And that's the biggest thing that I could have done for myself, is just move and start over fresh. Day in the life of me now, it's kind of boring. I go to work, I do my studies with school. I come home, I watch movies, I go out with my girlfriend, who's very caring and supporting, and honestly is my huge rock with what I have now. She keeps me very grounded and motivated to be a better person, to be a better boyfriend, a better man, a better just individual in general.
I've not ever been more proud of a person in my life. Right off the bat, Dom was very honest about everything that had kind of happened in his past. He talked about, being in recovery, and no matter what situation he gets put in, he always overcomes it. And that's with life, with family, even in our relationship, his determination is definitely there.
Currently, right now, I'm going to school to become a drug counselor. So I'm on the verge of achieving my bachelor's degree in psychology with a concentration in drug and alcohol addiction. The first couple of years were kind of hard because you're just getting to the grind of going back to school, not only going back to school, but learning how to go to school and learning how to study again. And not only that, but keeping your new outlook on life going. When I first moved here, I would go to NA meetings at least once a week, just to kind of keep what I learned from Desert Hope, instilled in me. Have a support system, have a support group, try to keep good, positive people around me that, know where I've come from and know where I'm at right now.
If he's having a bad day or he was having a rough day and he'd swing over to the house, we just kind of chit chat and be that open ear for him, that somebody that can listen, and kind kind of gel together and keep his head straight as a friend. You see people that are like, oh yeah, I want to get clean, you know, but then they're easy to give up. Now Dom's pretty determined. He's very much about his sobriety.
You know, just try to live life one day at a time, because, you know, you don't know when it's going to end, and you just want to make sure that you're as happy as possible in the meantime. Well, yeah, I'm just really excited because I have been talking to them about me coming to Vegas, and they seem really happy to come see me and just, you know, see where I'm at, and hopefully sharing my story with other people to basically just instill hope in them. Show them that their work and their efforts in me, you know, pushed me to be where I'm at now.
For any recovering person, it is about their perseverance and their dedication and their motivation to change who they are really after they leave treatment. It's so easy for folks to fall in line and follow the rules and do their guided recovery while they're in treatment. But when they go home, did they take any of that with them? And Dominic, over a period of time, has successfully changed his life, and for the better.
When people see where you've come when you moved to get clean and where you are now, you know, I get messages on Facebook like, hey, you know, you're really an inspiration. I see that you're really trying. Like, you know, good for you. You know, I hope everything's working out. I see that you're actually really doing it. You know, some people don't get that chance to do that.
My hope for Dominic is that he take, you know, what he's been given so freely, and he continues to help people. And I know he will do that. So I say that's a hope for me, but it's really a reality because he's doing that right now.
After all that he's been through in his life, to take that with him so he can reach out to other people that need help. And I believe he can do it.
I used to tell him, if you could only see you through my eyes, he is going to make a mark in this industry.
It was in his blood to be in this field. I fully believe that. And for all of us who work in this field, we don't choose this field, it chooses us.
I think he would be a tremendous asset, you know, as a counselor, whatever, you know, the type of job that he chooses.
I think that if anybody needs help out there with their sobriety, Dom would be definitely somebody that they can call.
It's like, I just want the best for him, and I know that he's an awesome person and will go far in life.
He is willing to go the extra mile, even if someone doesn't need anything from him. He just is the perfect person to enter this field, to do the work that I know he's getting ready to do because I've been there.
He's determined.
It's been such a long time. Miss D.
Look at you! So happy to see you. You look great.
Good. Yeah, it's been a real long time. You know, that's what I want to do. I want to make a difference in the world. You didn't recognize me? I did recognize you at first. How are you doing? You look very pretty.